So I have the honor of welcoming up Sifa Ndusha. Sifa is a former refugee from the DRC who was settled in the U.S. in 2011. She has overcome a tremendous amount of adversity and is currently one of NBN's strongest champions. She regularly meets with her members of Congress to share her story and the importance of life-saving malaria fighting programs and protecting the most vulnerable. We're lucky that she's sharing her story with us today. Please help me welcome Sifa.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, my name is Sifa Ndusha, as he said. I was born and grew up in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where malaria is the leading cause of death among children and pregnant women. I am a malaria survivor. Since 1996, my home country, the Democratic Republic of Congo, has been involved in violence that has killed more than 6 million people. I was born and raised in the eastern part of the country, where fighting continues and destroying infrastructure, creating human rights violations, and causing physical and psychological damage to citizens. My family was attacked several times, which forced us to move place to places. In November 2011, my family was blessed by a resettlement to the United States through UNHCR. Since then, my life has changed from misery to happiness. After spending 4 years in the refugee camp in Uganda, where malaria affects over 90% of the population. While in the refugee camp, we had 8 people in a one-room house with only 1 bed. Some people did not have houses. They do sleep under tents. Our house was mainly surrounded by stagnant water and bushes, and we were in and out hospitals because of malaria. My family was given a mosquito net during a distribution by the UNHCR, and that reduced the frequency of malaria in my family. Despite us having mosquito nets, latrines are very far from houses. During night, when you go to the latrine, you may get bit by a mosquito and come back into your bed net already infected. There is no electricity. We stayed outside for a long time at night and go inside only when it is time to go to sleep. We were bitten by mosquitoes before even we go to bed. So, dear brothers and sisters, you see that malaria was a normal part of life for me then and continue to be part for many people, especially refugees. But my experience with malaria in the refugee camp was not my first time with it. My first personal experience with malaria was when I was 12 years old. That's in my country. It started with a fever and intense cold feeling. I remember at that time my parents covering me with a heavy blanket and putting a wet cloth on my forehead to reduce fever. As symptoms persisted, my parents decided to administer a home remedy to avoid spending money on doctors. They did an application of eucalyptus and hot water vapor inhalation. The method is very risky and complex. There is a chance that you might get burned. The remedy broke the fever, leading my family to think I was healthy, but after 2 to 3 weeks, I had a severe stomachache, change in my skin color. I became so weak that I could not talk or walk. That is when a priest from my local church took me to the hospital. they found out that my internal organs were failing and started shutting down because of malaria. I underwent a surgery to cut off a part of my intestines, and I had to stay home for the whole school year because of malaria. I spent an entire month in a hospital, and my mother, may she rest in peace, had to stay with me because the hospital was far from our house. This entire situation affected all members of my family. My mother was the main source of income in my family because my father was a teacher. And teachers in Congo, they make little to nothing. So getting malaria did not just impact me, it affected my entire family. It was the same in the refugee camp. Malaria affected the entire family. Malaria in refugee camps is much worse because they are often overcrowded, have limited access to clean water, and malnutrition rates are incredibly high. Additionally, in these camps, when people are infected with malaria, they have limited access to health care, which forces them to travel many miles to get to a health clinic. Thankfully, people are increasingly getting access to not just mosquito net, but also treatment for malaria because of the UNHCR.